Welcome to Calm, Dreamy Sleep, a peaceful place where stories become dreams. Just relax and slowly close your eyes. Take a gentle breath in and let the day quietly drift away. If this story brings you peace, if you feel calmer, lighter, please subscribe and like so we can continue creating relaxing stories. So let's start. The sun stood high and still over Basra that day. A slave vendor came calling, and word reached Jafar. He dressed slowly, winding his turban, draping his shawl, stepping into soft leather shoes. Then he called for me, and I dressed the same. We rode 2 donkeys fitted with merchant saddles, the slave vendor riding beside us. The streets were quiet. The air was warm. We arrived at a house. Its gate spoke of old wealth, of a time when this place held light and laughter. The slave vendor knocked. A young man opened the door. His shirt was plain, his face gentle. And there was something tender in his eyes, something that had known long days of waiting. "Come through, sirs," he said softly. We stepped inside. A wide corridor opened before us, then a courtyard that had once been cared for, now resting in quiet neglect. The young man found a piece of an old mat, large and worn, and laid it down for us. We sat. "Bring out the slave girl," the vendor said. "The buyer is here." The young man disappeared into the house. When he returned, a girl walked beside him. She wore the same rough shirt as he did, coarse fabric, simple stitches, and yet in that plainness, she seemed like a queen. Her beauty was quiet, deep, like moonlight on still water. She carried a lute. Jafar asked her to sing. Her fingers found the strings. Her voice rose, soft and clear. And for a moment, the neglected courtyard was full of something like grace. Then her voice caught. She began to weep and could not go on. From inside the house, we heard the young man weeping too. The girl rose quickly, then stumbled. She hurried inside, and from within came a sound of sorrow so deep it seemed to have no end. Then silence. We feared for them both. We were preparing to leave when the young man appeared again, still in that same worn shirt. "Please forgive me," he said, his voice steady now, but gentle. "Forgive what I am about to do and say." "Tell us," Jafar said. And the young man looked at us and spoke. "God is my witness. You are my witnesses. This girl, I set her free. Here, now, and I ask you, marry me to her." Jafar looked at the girl, then back at the young man. He was quiet for a moment. "Do you wish me to marry you to your master?" he asked her. "Yes," she whispered. "I do." And so Jafar married them, there in that quiet, faded courtyard. Then he turned to the young man. "Why?" he asked softly. "What brought you here, to this?" And the young man told his story. "I am the son of so-and-so. My father was among the wealthiest men of this city. This slave vendor knew him. He knew our house when it was full. My mother had a young slave girl, my age. She walked with me to school each morning and learned what I learned. We returned together each afternoon. When she grew older, she learned to sing, and I learned from her. The finest families sought me for their daughters. My father left the choice to me. I told him I was not interested. They thought me chaste, virtuous. But the truth was simpler. I loved only her. My mother did not know. When she decided to sell the girl, my love could not stay silent. She spoke for me. My mother told my father, and they gave her to me, with a wedding, with blessings, with everything a new home could need. For a time, we were happy. Then my father died. I was young and foolish and careless. I spent without thought. The wealth slipped through my hands like water, and we came to this. Now I have nothing, only her and this house. Empty and still. Not long ago, I heard the caliph and his minister were coming to Basra. I said to her, "Your youth is passing. Your life is passing. I do not wish to sell you. I know I would die without you. But perhaps it is better that I die, if you could live well. Let me offer you to someone wealthy. Perhaps they will give you the life you deserve. If I die after you are gone, then that is my wish. If I live, I will use what I gained for you to go on." She wept when she heard this. Her face was wild with grief. Then she rose and said, "Very well, do it." So I went to the slave vendor. He remembered her singing in the days of our wealth. I told him, "I will not sell her in the market. I will not humiliate her. The buyer must come here, to our home. She has never once crossed this threshold into the world. She has only this shirt. We share it. When I go out for food, I wear it. When I return, I give it to her, and I wear her cloak. When you arrived, she came out and sang, and I wept. I could not stop. She came to me and said, 'How strange, you wish to part with me, and yet you weep.' I said, 'By God, it is easier to part from my own soul than from you. I only wished to free you from this life.' And she said, 'No, master. If I had power over you, I would never sell you. I would die of hunger first. Only death could part us.' Then I said, "Do you wish to see the truth of what I have told you? Do you wish me to go to the buyer and free you before him and marry you? And we will go on suffering as we do now until God sends relief or death." And she said, "If you are true, then do it. I wish for no one but you." So I came to you, and now you know. He lowered his eyes. "Please forgive me." Jafar looked at him for a long, quiet moment. "You are forgiven," he said. We rose. The donkeys were brought. As Jafar prepared to mount, I stepped close to him. "God is great," I said quietly. "How can a man as generous as you see such poverty and not reach out?" My heart broke for that young man. Jafar turned to me. "My heart broke too," he said. "It was only my own pique at losing the slave girl that held me back." "And what of the desire for heavenly reward?" I asked. He was silent. Then, "You are right. By God, you are right." I turned to the slave vendor. "How much was paid for the girl?" 3,000 dinars. I looked at Jafar. "They are with my servant," he said. And then he said, "Take them. Give them to the young man. Tell him to buy clothes, and then come to me. I will give him more. I will find him work." I walked back through the quiet courtyard. The young man stood waiting, still in his worn shirt. I was weeping. "God has hastened your relief," I said. "The man who left your home is Prince Jafar ibn Yahya al-Barmaki. He has given you this. He asks you to come to him." The young man stared. For a moment, I thought he might fall. Then his breath returned, and he thanked me, his voice barely a whisper. I mounted and followed after Jafar. When I told him, he thanked God, and we rode home in silence. That evening, we went to Al-Rashid. They spoke of matters of state. Then Jafar told the caliph the story of the young man and the girl. "And what did you do?" Al-Rashid asked. Jafar told him. The caliph nodded slowly. "Assign him an income from the treasury," he said, "and do as you think best." The next morning, the young man came to me. He wore good clothes now. His face was handsome, his bearing gentle, and when he spoke, I found him to be most eloquent, most learned. I brought him to Jafar's assembly. Jafar welcomed him, made things smooth for him, appointed him to his entourage. He signed an order as the caliph had decreed, and another on his own account. The story spread through Basra and among the army. All who could gave something. And by the time we left that city, the young man who had shared a single shirt with his beloved had become wealthy again. But that was not the story. The story was this: two people in a quiet house who chose each other, and the world slowly, gently chose them back. Our next story is A Merchant and His Wife. Before proceeding next story, please subscribe and like the channel. Let's start. I went to Basra once. I went to visit a merchant. His name, I have forgotten it now, but I remember his face, and I remember the two boys who stood beside him. They were smart-looking lads, bright eyes, calm faces. He saw me watching them. "If you will," he said, his voice low and gentle, "pray to God to protect them." I did. Then I said, "You must have chosen their mother well to have such splendid children." He was quiet for a long moment. His eyes drifted somewhere far away. Then he said, "There is no woman in Basra finer than their mother, and none closer to my heart." My story with her, it makes a wondrous tale. I asked him to tell it to me, and so he did. "I used to travel," he said, his voice taking on the rhythm of an old memory, "down to Ubula to trade. I would bring goods from there to Basra, and I would make a profit. Then I would take goods from Basra to Ubula, and again, I would make a profit. Back and forth, between the two towns, the road becoming familiar beneath my feet, and always a little more gain, a little more fortune. Until at last, I became rich. People began to talk of my good luck. My name was whispered in the markets, spoken with respect. And I decided then to settle in Basra, to stay in one place, to build a life. But I knew, quietly, deeply, that my days here would feel incomplete without a wife to share them. Now, in all of Basra, there was no man of greater dignity than the grandfather of these two boys. And he had a daughter he had refused to marry off, again and again, turning away suitor after suitor, risking their enmity without hesitation. I decided I would approach him. One day, I found him alone. "Uncle," I said, "I am the merchant." "I know you well enough," he said, cutting me gently. "And your father's standing too." "I have come," I said, "to ask for your daughter's hand." He looked at me a long while. "By God," he answered, "I have nothing against you. But many people, dignitaries of Basra, men of name and position, have asked for her hand, and I have never agreed. Because I hate the thought of her leaving my care for someone who would value her as slave girls are valued. God, I answered, has raised her above such a status. And I ask you to let me become part of your family. Is that your firm wish? He asked. It is, I replied, and I should regard it as a favor and a privilege. Then, he said, come to see me with your men. I spoke with a number of well-known merchants, substantial men. I asked them to go with me the next day. You're taking us on a wild goose chase, they said. Still, I said, I ask you to come. We all rode off to the merchant's home. My heart was heavy. I was sure he was going to refuse, but he did not. He gave them a positive answer. He agreed to marry me to his daughter. He honored them, spread a sumptuous feast for them, and after, they left. When they'd gone, the merchant said to me, do, if you'd like to, stay tonight with your wife. There is no reason to delay. That, I answered, is very much my wish. We passed the rest of the day together until sunset. We prayed the sunset prayer side by side. He praised God, and so did I. He asked for God's mercy, and so did I. When it grew dark, we prayed the evening prayer together. Then he took my hand, and he conducted me into a house. It was well appointed, the best furniture, spotlessly clean, men and women servants standing quietly. When I had seated myself there, he rose. I'll take my leave of you, he said. May God grant you from his bounty, and make your life an agreeable one. And with that, he left. I was now surrounded by older women from his family. They moved softly, gently, and they festively brought in my bride. When I looked at her, I saw there was no beauty there, no great beauty. And then the curtains were drawn around us, and she spoke. Sir, she said. Her voice was quiet, steady, like water flowing over smooth stones. I am a secret of my father's, divulged to no one before, only to you now, because he saw you to be worthy of its trust. Don't, I entreat you, disappoint his faith in you. If what's required of a wife is mere good looks, without a wife's sufficiency and chastity, then I shall be in a sad state indeed. But I have, I trust, enough of these two qualities to compensate for good looks. With that, she rose, quietly, and she produced a bag full of money. Sir, she said, God has permitted you to marry 3 more free women in addition to me. Together with any concubines you wish to have. You have my full agreement to marry those 3, and to buy any of those slave women with the money in this bag, which I pass over to you to fulfill your desires. All I ask is that you will give me your protection. I assure you, when she said this, she took immediate possession of my heart. In a way no great beauty could ever have done. "Here is your recompense," I answered. My voice was not my own. "For what you have just said, by God, I will have no other woman but you. I will take my fortune in life along with you, possessing what a man most wishes for in a woman." She was as tender and proper as anyone could be, as efficient in running my household. I realized just how lucky I was. Then, as I grew older, I came in any case to have a greater need of level-headed behavior. And God showed his approval of the way I received her initial address to me. And he gave me these two splendid boys. We dedicate ourselves to his bounty to us and to the charity he has shown us. He looked down at his sons, and he was quiet. I did not speak. There was nothing left to say. That was his story, and I have never forgotten it. Tonight's story is now gently coming to an end. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for listening. You don't need to do anything now. Just rest. Let your thoughts grow quiet, one by one, like candles being softly blown out. The soft sounds you hear, the gentle rain, the quiet hush of the world outside. They will continue to play, slowly, softly, steadily, guiding you deeper and deeper into comfortable, natural sleep. Close your eyes now. Let your shoulders soften. Let your hands rest open. Let your breath grow slow and easy. There is nothing to carry with you tonight. No thoughts to hold, no worries to keep. Only this quiet moment, only this gentle stillness. Allow yourself to drift away now, like a leaf on still water, like a cloud across a silent moon. Deeper and deeper and deeper still. Good night and sweet dreams.